Hey, what's up, everybody? Rod J back again. Welcome back to another Beer Flow show. And tonight there are two, me and Todd in the house. So welcome, everyone. Todd down there in Indiana, me here in Kentucky, Joe out doing what he's doing, and then Eric is actually out at a NFL draft party, which I'm not sure why. Being a Lions fan, I would think he might be a little miserable, but there's always hope. There's always hope on draft night. So let me go ahead and pull up the comment board. And how was your week thus far, Todd?
Very busy. Been busy at work as usual. Come Thursday, it's time to get our drinks on.
Yeah, ain't that the truth, Ruth?
not,
Yeah.
not sure how else to put it.
You got to be honest. You got to be up forthcoming. You got to be not lying about it. And it's that time. And I'm actually drinking something different because I didn't have time to really grab some other beer. So I just ran by the Aldi store here because everything I got in the cooler is the one-offs. So I just grabbed something I hadn't tried from them before. I was feeling kind of like a Bach.
I was going to say, it looks like their Bach that they have there.
Yeah, so I figured, why not just check out their Bach? And this is their Bruegel original dark lager Bach beer. It's always funny that when you look at their bottles, like they're knockoffs of stuff. But even at Aldi, you can get a date on something. So that is Best Buy. Best Buy. I'm going to see it 1/10/20 or either 10/1/20 because in the U.S. we put the month first.
True.
A lot of other countries they put the day first. So being that they from overseas, I'm not sure which one it is, but either way, it says 2020. I'm in good shape. So
either way, if Aldi can do it, what's everybody else's problem?
Right. So they can get it done. And I'm actually going to be drinking this in a Spiegel mug. This big old thick mug. My wife got me that like a couple Christmases ago. So that'll definitely work. And I do need a bottle opener though. But Cody Stark in the house says, cheers. So I'll be there getting warmed up. Check me out on Untapped. So Cody's dropping some stuff there. 420. I'm in, Brother Rod. Welcome, 420. And we had a pretty good stream Saturday, I would say. The 420 stream, which was actually the most watched stream I think we've done. I think right now it's like 154 views or so on that stream. So
yeah, y'all made my drive home on Sunday from Tennessee. I watched the whole thing. By the time it was over, I got pulled in the driveway.
It was a fun time for sure.
Yeah, I wish I could have joined.
Yeah, we had a good time. Had different people popping in, and it was definitely a great checking out of that. So I'm going to let that settle for a second. 420 says my favorite discount: getting Guinness Collection, having beer loving, game playing, cool stream having Beer Brother on YouTube. Oh. He wrapped that all together. I was like, read it in parts. Like my favorite discount: getting Guinness Collection, having beer loving, game playing, cool streaming, having Beer Brother on YouTube. I'm Rod J. That's funny. 420, my man. And Backwoods Billy in the house. Welcome. He says, we'll be back to quote Arnold LL. See you in 15 minutes. Cheers, everyone. And Backwoods Billy says, cheers. Time to get your drink on. That's right. That's right, son. Head coach, fellas, I'm walking to the local bar. The head coach is on the prowl, but he always hits us up. Appreciate that. 420 said, me too, Todd. Missed out because 420 wasn't able to make the stream, and he was really looking forward to it as well. I mean, if there's a day for 420, that's the day, right?
I was going to say, that's the days of all days right there.
And then Earth says, drink a good one for me, coach. As coach is heading to the bar, and then head coach says, Earth, bunch of exclamation points. Billy says, Bach beer or spring beer. Spring is here. Did anyone see either my tweet or Miller Lite tweet? They're coming out with a new nutritional label: calories, carbs, protein, fat content. I have not, but I know the industry, because of what Bud Light was doing, a lot of them were trying to look at putting stuff on labels, but when it gets to the craft beer part of it, I don't think people care about the nutritional value as much because just want to have a nice, tasty beer. So it'll be interesting. And then Earth said, what up, Rod and Todd? Look at that. That's a rhyme right there, son.
What's up, Earth?
And Earth is out basking in the Southern California area. Nice. So welcome everyone in, and I'll try to keep up on the comments here, not having Joe here on that part. So see what we can do. And then hopefully we're going to be able to get a PSA by the end. Or who knows, maybe Eric will pop in because we get frustrated with the draft. We never know.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, especially with the Lions, being a Lions fan. Already 100 degrees here, get in time for a goes so 420 at 100 degrees. Wow.
Dang.
Wow. Right now, I've actually got the windows open because we actually just had a rainstorm come through, a little bit of a thunderstorm action, and nice breeze blowing through the house, but have not turned the air conditioner on yet this year.
We haven't either.
It's been close. It's been close, but just haven't pulled the trigger on it. So, and Earth says 101 here too. So basically, Earth and 420 playing a Price is Right on who's got it hotter right now.
Damn. I ain't looking forward to that nonsense.
Yeah. Billy said no ABV or IBUs on new Miller Lite label. I thought Miller Lite, well, on the new label, on the old label, I think they had what the ABV of the beer was, but interesting. I don't think really have much of a use as much for the IBUs anymore. I mentioned this on one of the streams the other day. It's if you know the style, you kind of know where the IBU ranges are going to be. I mean, if you're a new person, you might not be familiar with it, but if you're a new person, most of the time you don't understand IBU anyway, or you're not used to it to really pick it out. So it's kind of, I don't know if that's the space that's going to keep getting filled by a lot of the breweries.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can do so much with the malts and everything. I mean, you could have a 80 IBU beer, but if you malt it with enough, or even adjuncted enough, it doesn't feel like it's an 80 IBU. So,
right. That's like,
and on the flip side, you can have a 20 IBU beer and it'll taste, grassy as hell or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah, it'd be a lot more bitter type feel to it on some stuff, depending. Yeah. And that's like Chill Wave from Great Lakes. They have theirs is like 80, 85, I believe, but you really can't tell from tasting it because it is so malted out. Good beer, though. I do like that. That one, did I miss that one coming out this year? I don't know if it missed it coming out already. There's just so many beers. It's hard to keep up on them all. I mean,
I want to say that hasn't come out yet, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. But I would tell you, for a beer that is $6.99 a six pack, this Bruegel actually isn't too bad for a nice little Bock beer. So if you have an Aldi and you like Bock beers, Bock lagers, might be one you want to check out.
For in a 6-pack, you said, right?
Yeah, for a 6-pack.
Yeah.
It's got
a little over $1 a piece. Can't beat that.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of a nice maltiness with it. You get nice tones, caramel, toffee. More toffee than caramel, I should say. But it's got a nice feel of it being a lager, too. Now, they actually do not have the ABV on here. Again, with them being overseas, they also hit you with the 11.2-ounce bottle or 330 milliliter, which you'll see in a lot of the European imports versus our 12-ounce bottle. So a little less on the ounces, but not bad. I mean, some people love Aldi. I think it's kind of so small of a store. I don't know how people can do their whole grocery shopping there. I can see you getting this little this or this little that, just like if you're going to like a Walgreens or something like that and everything maybe. But some people just love it so much they do all their shopping at it. So
I think you can get a good majority of your stuff done there, but we'll go there every now and again. But yeah, I don't think you can get your whole grocery list done in one one outing. But I guess it depends. Depends on what your menus consist of, I guess.
Well, I wonder if there's an 80-20 rule as it applies to how people actually eat. And I don't know, you've heard the 80-20 rule before, Todd?
Not sure.
Well, basically,
probably. I'm not sure if I knew it was called that or not. What is it?
Like 80% of whatever you do, like it's 80% of what you gain only comes like 20%. Like if you're in sales, 80% of your sales come from 20% of your base.
Right.
When people wear clothes, if you look at your closet, out of all the clothes you wear, 80% of the time you're probably wearing the same 20% of clothes.
True. Yeah.
So when you think about what you eat, you get accustomed to eating certain meals. So there's certain meals that are kind of your regular type thing that you're going through. Like you might have spaghetti like once a week or whatever, or you might have, hot dogs, baked beans, hamburgers, whatever maybe. You may have them so built into your routine that you don't realize you're really eating the same stuff over. And if you're doing that, then an Aldi might actually work out. I mean, you're not making like fettuccine Alfredo, every week, something crazy, or pot roast every week. That's like once in a while. But
Right.
if you want to cut that routine, you might be able to get by with an Aldi.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place, to get some stuff, especially if you have a younger kid that's takes their lunch to school or whatever, to get some of the little snacks and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, it might not be too bad. What are you drinking, by the way? Excuse me, by the way.
I'm drinking double scatterbrain. It's a double dry hopped with Citra, double IPA from Bearded Iris.
Yes, indeed. I've had that on draft at one of our places before.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I picked it up down there in Tennessee last weekend. I got, I think, 6 different varieties of Bearded Iris. And it comes in at 8% ABV. I like it. It's nice. It says labeled with pine, passion fruit, and citrus, which seems kind of vague for the description there. I mean, instead of going with the hop variety of it. But no, I like it. Yeah, you definitely get some of the orangey, citrusy feel to it. And, it says pine, I guess. Obviously in an IPA, you're going to get that, but a little bit. Not overly hoppy though.
Yeah.
It smells, to me, it smells more hoppy in the aroma than it does in the taste.
Yeah, taste, I remember being pretty smooth, and you got a little bit of that malt feel with it too.
But it's nice balance. Yeah, it's not like overpowering. Some of them you can be overpowering on the back end with the hops, but this one's well balanced. Not too sweet, not too hoppy. Very drinkable at 8%, like you were saying.
Yeah.
They do some good stuff. I don't know if anybody out there has had much of any Bearded Iris out of Nashville, but if you can see them, find it, I'd highly recommend them. I've not been too disappointed out of any of them that I have tried.
Yeah, and we're getting more of their stuff here now, so I'll definitely be trying to check out some more of their beers. 420s.
Are you seeing a lot of it around now?
I'm seeing like some of it, like in the place I took you to, Depths. They usually have like 3 or 4 of their brands there. Party Source will get a couple, like where JO is. Then we have another place, Party Town. I saw a couple there, I think. So they're getting some distribution in Kentucky. I haven't seen them in Ohio yet, but it's just been some of the Kentucky spots.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't. We get a little bit of it here in Louisville, but we don't get it in Indiana either. So.
Yeah, and they get a nice little slick feel to their design as well. I like too.
Yeah, no, a couple years ago they really blew up. Don't hear much out of them much anymore, where people go crazy over them like they used to, but kind of come and go, just like everything else. All the other brands in the industry, it seems.
Yeah. Let me see here. And then 420 said he's down in Goza, like from Sierra Nevada. Billy said a standard American adjunct lager beer, 8 to 12 IBUs. That's from 2 to 3. ABV 2.8 to 4.2. Foamy Head, hey guys, finishing up a real ale brewing Blackberry Goza, about to have a Hammer Chain fresh grind double IPA from Odell Brewing. Cheers. And cheers to that, Foamy.
Cheers.
I've always heard a lot of good things about Odell. I like to some point try their beers. I think I can get them at Jungle Gyms now, but I haven't started putting them into the mix yet.
Odell out of Colorado, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I actually picked some up. Let's see, last fall, I guess, when I went to that Benny's up in Chicago, where I told Eric to go to last week when he was up there. They had some couple different Odell varieties. I picked up a couple then. They were pretty good.
Yeah. I got to actually go to, it's funny, I go to Dallas in June for my nephew's graduation. And of course, I see, well, there's this liquor store close to where they live at? Oh, here's one. Okay, next question. Is there a UPS store? Oh, here's one right here. So,
yeah. How convenient. How convenient.
Flying this Saturday, flying out Monday, but I may have to run in between. Get some stuff, throw it in there. Maybe even some of the boxes I have, like I said to you guys, since I can use those eBay boxes now, just pack them in the suitcase.
That's right.
That way I already have them with me and throw some stuff in there. So,
coincidence? I think not.
Maybe trying some beers from Dallas here on the channel. And then 420 said Earth, we were at 104.5, 40 degrees Celsius here yesterday. That's bananas right there. And then Billy said we eat out a lot, so we do eat different a lot. Yeah, now if you're eating out a lot, like with us, because we don't have kids, sometimes we were doing that before too. Of course, that starts to eat into the financials as well. But you do tend to mix it up more because you're going to different spots and trying different things. So that would be a little harder to shop for probably. But 420 says, I'm having a Lapel Double IPA from Shoe Tree in Carson City, Nevada. My man Paul runs that show. It's 9.6 ABV, 96 IBU, 4 SRM. Very nice. Cody says, hey, guys, I'm here. Cody Stark back in the house. Welcome back, Cody. How's your cream ale going that you're brewing there, by the way? I think you were bottling them last week or a few days ago when we talked. So have you pulled one to taste it? See where you're at this point? Maybe a little spot check. Billy says, I have a great Spring Migration Series rum barrel aged limited edition 2015 vintage from EVO Evolution Craft Brewing out of Salisbury, Maryland. I would do a review of one of the bottles I aged 4 years. Nice. I've got one of the rum barreled pumpkins that is still in the cellar right now that I have to do at some point. Cody said he had a porter that tasted like a Reese's tonight. That sounds
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. You missed your chance though, Cody. So there's a hashtag not sorry because that's the Reese's motto. You know, you should have put that in there. Hashtag not sorry. And the 420 says Reese's. I mean, Reese's does some really amazing things. I don't know if we talked about that before. I feel like we have, but I wasn't sure. Like some of the candy bars. I know what I'm talking about. So the other night we were talking. I don't know if it was the 420 show or the Beer Flow show. We were talking about video games and arcade games. Was that last Thursday?
We did last Thursday, yeah.
Yeah. So I had in my thing. I was listening to a song earlier today, and I forgot who it was, but it was they talked about Shinobi, and I was like, how did nobody mention Shinobi last week? Because Shinobi was
that's a killer.
That was a killer classic video game from back then.
we should all be ashamed of ourselves.
Should be ashamed. Nobody mentioned Shinobi out there. But as far as candy bars, what's everybody's favorite candy bar? I mean, what do you have up there as your top candy bars? Like for me, like Reese's is probably up there as my top one, just because they do so many good things with it. You know, whether it's the pieces, whether it's the peanut butter cups, whether it's the pieces in the peanut butter cup, the Reese's eggs.
I was gonna say you have to admit though, like the Reese's eggs are the best ones out of any of them, though, right?
Yeah. So any type of Reese's is pretty much on. But I mean, are you more of a Snickers person? Are you more of a Hershey's? Are you old school like Almond Joy? I mean,
me personally, my go-to candy bar is a Snickers. Yeah. Highly followed by a Reese's cup or something though. Yeah. But candy-wise, not a candy bar. Gravitate more towards like peanut M&Ms is always solid.
Yeah.
I can have those just about over anything really as far as candy goes.
And then Billy said Hershey was his favorite out there. I mean, Hershey does have the classic candy bar. 420, you're right. That's who it was actually. 420 dropping it out there. He said like the Loonies said everybody kicking like Shinobi, and that's who it was. It was yeah. You are correct, sir. I should do a beats and beer show some night.
You should, yeah.
Some of the old beats and stuff, and do a stream like from the basement with some of the music. I mean, I sitting outside the last couple of weeks listening to the old records. I had some old Boogie Down Productions and X-Clan on the other day, and I was like smoking a cigar. I guess one of my reviews, I just did a review outside since the weather's breaking down, so I'll try to do some more of that for some other outside type footage. But
bring back your old DJing days.
Yeah, bring it back.
Spin some tunes.
Yeah, if you follow my Instagram page, I posted a picture of the the records and stuff I was playing when I was outside enjoying, and it was just nice. I mean, I even the other day I went back and broke out because I have the whole old setup. So I have the turntables. I actually got a turntable to go on the computer because I was gonna start putting music on my computer. But I've also got the old cassette decks, the old CDs. So I busted out the old, Chub Rock cassette. Was listening to that for a while. Broke out a couple of CDs. I got tons of CDs in there, so I was listening to that for a bit. So I mean, and vinyl, I've got like 3 of those Rubbermaid like tubs, those huge tubs you have.
Damn.
I got like 3 crates of those, 3 of those of like just old vinyl records from back in the day. From like
Was you doing any mixing and scratching?
No, I don't have the mixing equipment now. I did think about picking it up a few months ago because I saw a thing where you can actually get them at a pretty good price, and I was like, yeah, do I want to get there mixing and stuff again? I mean, at this point, I just want to sit back and enjoy it. But I do like the thing with vinyl. I like the crackling with the needle and everything too. You don't get that now because everything is so crystal.
True, right?
Like that old feel. I got like tons of house music. I've got like a few different things. I got old K-Tel albums. Can you believe that? Old K-Tel in the Rubbermaid tub, and some other things. So.
People would still argue though that you get a more crisper, cleaner sound with records than you do any of the digital, CDs or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe you could, but I'm not sure.
I mean, depending on that turntable, yeah, if you had the right needle and stuff, I'm sure it can come through very nicely. And I even got like some 45s in there. Like kids today wouldn't even know what a 45 is. 45, the little one where you had to find that disc to be able to play the record. Otherwise, you couldn't play the record. So,
yep.
But which I used to hate, like when you lost that disc as a kid, you had to find that damn thing.
Or you get it thrown down and it gets scratchy and it just keeps skipping on you.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
That was worse than the 8-track skip when that happened. Yeah. 420 says Ghirardelli. So he's getting a little more fancy there, which if I wanted to take it up a notch, Ghirardelli is a good candy, especially with the caramel on the side. So for me, at least, the caramel filled Ghirardelli, yeah, those things you have to force yourself from eating them too.
That's kind of with any of them, though, isn't it?
420, he's stuck in the loonies. He's like, ain't got no tags on the cutlass. Foamy Head says anything dark chocolate. 420 says analog sounds the best. Billy said, as far as a chocolate bar, Hershey's. As far as a gourmet chocolate, like a great place here in the Del Mar, Virginia Eastern Shore, dark chocolate, the Bark. And then 420 said no compression. About the music there. And yeah, I'd like to kick back, listen to tunes. I mean, that's why I like really being a DJ and stuff, where you could just play the music. It was kind of interesting. You're DJ, you're on the radio, you're playing the music, you're kind of just in your own little world there, and you get on the mic and you're talking and stuff like that. And it's just funny when people are like listening to you on the radio, like, and people are calling in, they're saying stuff, and they're like, hey, we love what you did, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow, like people are really listening. So
you're really out there? All right. I'm not just talking to myself. There's actually people listening.
Yeah, so that was pre YouTube back when I was a DJ there on the radio.
So who's your all-time favorite, like, old school rapper, R&B rapper in general? I guess.
Here we go.
Rap group.
Well, my favorite MC lyricist, so to speak, I guess. My top one is Chuck D.
That's a good one. I'd have to put mine as Eric B. Rakim.
Well, yeah, I mean,
as a lyricist anyway, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as an MC, it's almost like, okay, so if you say like as a rapper, which is slightly different than being an MC. An MC, I would probably put Rakim at number 1.
Yeah.
Chuck D is a rapper number 1.
True.
And then out there, I would have Nas as one of my favorites. And Nas, I would have him as an MC. I'd have Busta Rhymes in the mix. He'd probably be a little bit more down because I'd have to get Big Daddy Kane in there. Because Big Daddy Kane used to flow like nobody's business back in the day. You try to think of who else was out there that was really dropping a lot of stuff. I like Ice Cube would be in there as well as a top one.
Yeah, you gotta have Cube in there.
Yeah. It's sad, but it's like if almost like if nothing would have happened to the DLC would have been in there at some point, maybe like probably between maybe 10 to 20 or so. But after that first album, he had that wreck and he couldn't do anything. You also have to think of it was just on the tip of my tongue. Shoot. Trying to think, who was I just thinking of? I mean, Heavy D used to have some good lines. For a big man, he can move and stuff. He definitely put on a show back in the day. I mean, you had some good things like from obviously KRS-One would also he'd be in my top 5 too. The stuff that he would actually spit out, and then some of the way he did it, the way he made the thing. I mean, it was a different time when we grew up coming up through the 80s and 90s because it was like the pinnacle of it. It was really part of that hip hop versus just be going into rap afterwards.
Yeah.
Compared to where we're at now, it's a lot of people don't really hit on unless you're looking at a Kendrick Lamar, something like that. I liked more early Tupac than later Tupac on some of his stuff.
I'd agree. I agree with you on that one. But Ice Cube.
Yeah, but Ice Cube was solid. He's still solid on some of the stuff that he does. Oh, Redman. That's what I was thinking of. Redman is one that you hear a lot of. But Redman, if you listen to Redman's albums, oh my God, Redman's got some sick lines and lyrics on stuff that just blow your mind on stuff.
I remember I had one of his CDs. Which one was it? I can't remember. I want to say like the whole cover was red looking.
Oh, that was the with his hands up, like the
yeah.
Like it was I think Time for Action was on that one. I got that one downstairs actually in the basement. I can't think of it offhand.
I remember playing that in my room, and every time I hear my mom coming, like turn it down real quick so I wouldn't, hear the cussing and stuff going on.
And then as far as like group ensembles, you have like Public Enemy, of course. EPMD was one of my favorite like groups combined. They're probably one of my favorite as far as a rap duo. I mean, you have Run DMC as well.
I was going to say you have to put Run DMC up there somewhere, right?
But EPMD, they kind of took it to a different level. They were actually the first rap group that every one of their albums went platinum. I mean, went gold out of the chute.
Where would you put like Beastie Boys in that mix as far as like
Beastie Boys kind
of like as rapper? No, I mean,
oh no, they're rap. It's funny because it's like on one of our stations up here. WEBN is like a hard rock station. On occasion, they'll play Beastie Boys, and I don't know if they really realize that, but they are a rap group. At one point, when they started out, they were a punk group, and then they went to the rap group with Def Jam. And it's funny on how they actually started doing some of the stuff that they weren't like maybe looked at as being as serious about it, but then they went ahead and started actually getting after it, and then became like. These guys really can put some stuff. They do it in a way that's very entertaining, and different as far as how they're rhyme. But they're telling these imagery of these stories that really set them apart. I mean, Beastie Boys are like classics. They're like right there, like in the hip hop hall of fame as well. So, and it's funny, like some of their songs, like I think it was either No Sleep to Brooklyn or
Brass Monkey or.
Well, not Brass Monkey. It was No Sleep to Brooklyn or another one. It was actually originally a Run DMC song, and they didn't want to perform it, and was as if they could go ahead and do it. And so they actually pretty much took a Run DMC song and made it big. It wasn't No Sleep to Brooklyn because Run DMC from Queens. It was another one that actually was that they had done. I can't remember which one it is offhand.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with them because I don't think anybody could really tell whether they were serious or how to really take them. Like after a while, they're like, okay, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah,
it's like,
Yeah, and then like in here, 420 said his son's favorite is Joey Badass 888 Infinity, who I have not heard of Joey. And I will say also, in some of the newer type stuff, you have kind of like an Eminem that kind of stands out. Although Eminem, you could kind of push him back until mid 90s or so with him and like 50 Cent and some of the other guys like that. But 420 says his is Notorious B.I.G., who Notorious is one of the best MCs out there. But if you're ever to see some of the B.I.G. stuff, and I would say the Busta Rhymes stuff, when they free flow on YouTube, you can search like for their free flows. and you will find some great videos that people had of them, just pretty much going off the top of their head on stuff, and it just blows your mind. But 420 says, "Who shot you?" Then you laugh. I was like, "Yeah, actually, of the Biggie songs, my two favorites are Who Shot You, and then the 10 Crack Commandments are two of my favorites from BIG. Outside, still like Juicy and all the other stuff, but those ones, it was a different type of flow. We can't forget Jay-Z as well for some of the stuff he had done too. So, and then
somebody I like a lot too, the way he raps and brings his flow to the music is E40.
Yeah, E40.
He's got kind of a slick sound, kind of stands alone in his, the way he presents it to everybody.
Yeah. And there's also King T from back in the day. King T, I actually got somewhere around here like an autograph photo when I met him at that hip hop thing I did back in college. But he had some pretty good flows back in the day too. He teamed up with Got a Bay, y'all, with him and the Alcoholics was really a big hit for them. Sir Mix-a-Lot says Roz. Yeah, Sir Mix-a-Lot. I got the Posse on Broadway down in the basement on vinyl in the crate. So I had that one
on Broadway.
Yeah. Which is actually, I guess, his hit that came after. I think the first one was like Biscuits and Gravy or something he had done back in the day. But then he had Posse on Broadway before he had Baby Got Back. Yeah. Ghetto Boys. Yeah, Ghetto. I was driving into work today, listening to series. Ghetto Boys came on. Just listening to Mind Playing Tricks on Me. De La Soul. De La Soul is like another one that's kind of like they flipped a lot of the way it was on things. Like when they came with the native tongue style, you take De La Soul, you take Tribe Called Quest, you take Jungle Brothers, and you just have a whole different sound. You throw in like Queen Latifah because they were all doing stuff together, and it's just that whole native tongue thing for a while was just killing it out there.
Mm-hmm.
The 420 says Technotronic, Pump Up the Jam, brother. But you got to realize when Pump Up the Jam came out, people did lose their mind over that song for a bit.
Pump Up the Jam.
People were kind of digging it. Mr. in the house, Walker says 3 times dope. Yes. And in fact, one of the things
that's a good one
on Instagram, on my Instagram page, you'll see the picture where I had the 3 times dope playing on the record player last week too, because I got that on vinyl. So I was listening to that while I was doing some stuff outside as well. So yeah, 3 times dope, original styling. Yes, sir. Let me see here. TQ. Who is the Beer Tuber Spotlight this week? Well, the Beer Tuber Spotlights, and welcome, they're actually done sporadically, but the next one, I don't know when next one will be uploaded, but the next one to be recorded might be, he says, please say Redbeard. I am actually going to probably do Redbeard's taping tomorrow, and then Joe, we're going to probably do a taping this weekend as well. Who I put up first, I'm not really sure, but if you want to see Redbeard first, I'll get Redbeard's and we'll look at getting them up there just for you, my friend, just for you. 420 says Beastie Boys, Root Down. Got to put your root down. Yes. Best Beastie Boys album, in my opinion, Paul's Boutique. A lot of people look past Paul's Boutique. That's a classic. So many different things happen on that album that, the first album they came out with was phenomenal in itself, but Paul's Boutique, they just brought so much more stuff to it. And let's see here. TQ Murray, that's Ewart, says decent pick by the Bungles, safe. Oh, I'm not even watching the draft. I actually got the Denver San Antonio game on right now. It's a series of 3-2, and they're actually in a pretty good game. So San Antonio's up by 4 in the third quarter right now. He's trying to be funny. He says favorite rapper Snow. So you were informed wrong, my friend. Informer. That was
Informer. Snow.
Yeah. That can what is this Informer song? Yeah. 420 says, yeah, 10 Crack Commandments. And 420 laughed at Snow for Informer as well. Tiki says, or Maestro Fresh West. and Bra says, I love that song, LOL, the Real McCoy LL. And the 420 said, how can I join in? And now Raz has got the JETS going, so the Jets must be coming out to pick. So no one gets more excited at the draft than the Jets fans, I believe. I mean, they get revved up. But then, the one thing that rap always had, or hip hop, was also more the male dominance, but I thought like MC Light could flow with a lot of the male rappers back in the day. Like she had a good flow as well. She was always like my favorite female rapper. Thought Latifah was good. Yeah, Salt and Pepper that did their stuff. They were good when they came out. And then you had Roxanne Shante and some of the other, but MC Light was always like the more dominant one for me. Of course, now you have like you had Lil Kim and you had Foxy Brown. You got Cardi B now, and you had Nicki Minaj and all of them. Which Nicki Minaj to me is just kind of a knockoff of Lil Kim later on.
Yeah,
and then Cardi B is kind of a knockoff of Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, true. It is. They're kind of interchangeable in a sense.
Yeah. Mr. Say Young MC LOL, which in the Crace there is Bust a Move.
That's right.
And I have Tone Loke's Wild Thing down there in the Crace as well.
What about OL? What about OLL? You got to throw him in there somewhere, right?
Yeah. See, LL's like out there too because I don't know if people look at him as strong as he did because he's done so many more of the commercial type things now. But you go back and you look at some of the tracks he did, and he has another one that freestyled and did a lot of good stuff as far as making his name known. That whole thing with the Crush Groove movie back in the day, old school movie Crush Groove.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When he did radio and stuff, it was just like I blew the movie up when people saw him do radio on there. So
I think you can put him as I'm going to say innovator, I guess. He kind of changed as the time and music changed. Like he would change his style to kind of flow with what the times were at that time of that album or whatnot. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
He was definitely kind of like an innovator. I mean, he made the first like rap ballad with I Need Love. That was like a big hit. He did the harder type stuff. He did the slow. He did the rock type stuff, like where he had like some of the stuff when he went on MTV back in the day on the Unplugged, and he did those sets, and he kind of just ripped it up back when MTV. For all you young people back in the day when MTV showed music, he was on there, and they had the full band behind him, and he just killed it. Because people were saying they couldn't really get rap playing like with instruments because it was already, and he was like one of the first ones laid down, showing how it can be performed the same type way.
Right.
So he kind of blew that up there. And then when he did 4-3-2-1, after all those years where people kind of thought he may have faded and came back with that, oh my God, it was just like off the hook. And then you got Method Man too, right? You got Wu-Tang Clan. But then you got
Wu-Tang.
To me, like Method Man stands out from some of the stuff he does, like especially with him and Redman. But you have all the members of Wu-Tang that have their own different flows, which if you ever want to see a unique thing about them, there was a special about RZA that was on like cable. You probably see it on YouTube now, how he put that whole group together. Like he picked each of them from separate areas where they really didn't know each other, but they all had different styles. And the way he did the contracting, they really didn't know who was going to be on what, but the way their contracts were set up, each of them were going to get their own solo album at a certain point and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, he ran like a great business, and then they did all the distribution themselves, like out of the trunk of car. So that's why they didn't get screwed over like by any music companies at the time either when they blew up. So, yeah, so there was a lot. I mean, there was a lot back then. Nowadays, you feel like there's only like a few you can actually name, like that really stand out because so much sounds alike.
Yeah, kind of like most music nowadays, it all kind of starts running together, really.
Yeah, I mean, you had Cool G Rap back then. You had Brand Nubian. You had Poor Righteous Teachers. They said you had X Clan, and then you had
African Boombada or whatever.
Boombada, was it? Right? Yeah, I mean, you had all those artists that came together for off the West Coast for the anti-violence type thing. I forgot the name of the song. All in the Same Gang, and all those performing that, but you had all the ones on the East Coast that performed when they did it as well. And there was just like a ton of different sounds and stuff out there, which is sad how it kind of got pushed down into something so basic and common nowadays. That it's like everybody kind of bleeds together. It's like you hear Drake and Lil Wayne, you think it's the same person half the time. Like I don't even know unless you're like Lil Jon and you're just going around, what?
Yeah.
You're like,
okay.
That's Lil Jon. Lil Jon right there. Yeah. Mr. said Paperboy. Yeah, so Diddy back in the day, that was actually a good hit for a while. Crisscross, they had Jump, and then
Make
they
you
also
want to
had,
jump.
they had what was the other one they had too?
Oh,
Tonight's Tonight. They
tonight.
had
Yeah.
they had another one too.
Yeah, they did have another one also.
But the one member, Crisscross, actually died like years ago. I thought something happened to his health or something else happened to him. And when Fife died, that was kind of sad because I was so grown up, used to hearing Tribe Called Quest, like from the college years up. And then when Fife had died because of diabetes, when Heavy D had died, that was a big sudden thing as well. And then Raz says, vinyl in good condition is worth money. Now, tell me about it. I went into a local record store we have here a few months ago, and I can't even tell you how surprised I was to see some of these old records and what they were going for there. I've got like one of the Prince Purple Rain records down there where it's all purple. And on the one side is Purple Rain. On the other side was the song that he did called God, which was never released on any album. You only got it on a 12-inch single. And so I'm like, well, this has to be worth something as well. There's some of the other stuff. My mom at her house, she has like one of the first album from the release of Led Zeppelin when it came out. I've got like the last album that Elvis Presley had ever done, and some other stuff. So it's kind of like some of these records are in good condition. You can definitely get some money off of them. Earth says Conscious Daughters. I'm not familiar with Conscious Daughters though. And then Mr. said Detroit Pumas. I'm not familiar with that. Oh, Earth says Das Effects. Yeah, Das Effects.
Das Effect, yeah.
But they fell apart so quickly. It was so sad. Like it was there, and I don't know the whole story about what happened, why they fell apart. I don't know if it was like money. Like EPMD, it got into money type things between the two. But Das Effects had it going on. So it's funny. Quick story about that is when I was in college, I used to actually sell advertising for the university paper. And we had to go on a business trip when I was a business manager. We had to go to Chicago. So the weekend I had to go to Chicago was the same weekend we were bringing in Das Effects, EPMD, and I think it was Redman to play at our college that year. And it was like, are you kidding me? And my wife, at the time, she was a building supervisor. So she had all the backstage, all that kind of stuff. So I was going to be like trying to hang out with them when they came in. And obviously I didn't get to go see the show, and everybody talked about how good it was, and that was one of the moments I missed. But yeah, so she said she went in one point to check on stuff, and she opened the door. It was just like smoke everywhere.
Yeah,
that's what they were doing.
It wasn't vaping, I'm sure.
Riggedy pow. 420 to be like, I'm at home now, fellas.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. And let's see here. EPMD guys are always in Toronto, Mr. said as well. For 20, link me in. What do I need to do? Hang out? So, well, this is like kind of just to show that we actually do like this one. The hangouts is where we kind of get other people in. So maybe this weekend I'll do a hangout. So if you're around 420, we can definitely look to get you on there as well. But you would just need to, if you got the Hangout app, if you're on a phone, you would download that or whatever. But if not, I would just send you an email with the link. As long as you got a webcam, you'd be able to get into it. Ross says old metal albums has sick artwork, which is sought after. Yeah, they did as well. And it was funny. One of the other Sirius stations I got in the car the other day, and it was like 1985, and it was the records that were the hits at the time. My wife had been listening in the car before I got into it, and it was Nina Blackwell. It was a replay of Nina Blackwell, and I forgot how raspy her voice was from back in the day. Like, so that was kind of an interesting throwback.
Yeah, I can't even think of the sound right now off the top of my head.
Yeah. But she was one of the MTV VJs, her and Martha Quinn back in the day, too.
Right, yeah.
But I think she was like more of I say like a dirty blonde hair. Like you could tell, obviously, she had smoked and stuff like that, but it was kind of like she was cute, but it was like she was getting that raspy voice development, like after a point where it's like, by 60, you're going to be hearing like all that scratchiness in her throat and everything. So, and like 420 said, Judas Priest, Painkiller. Yeah. It was kind of funny too. I remember like back some of the shows like in the 80s, like people I guess realize there's kind of something there between like some of the harder type rock and like some of the hip hop back then, because you'd have some of the shows where it wouldn't be uncanny to see like one of the groups open up for another group, like trying to think the mix I'm thinking of, but it might like a Public Enemy opens up and they have somebody else on their undercard. To see them and me and Chili Pepper in the same type of show wouldn't be a big surprise. Like when they did the Live Aid type stuff back then, it was kind of like, it was different.
Yeah.
But you think about a lot of the guys that like the hard rock or towards the metal, how they were kind of looked on from society, like the kids that like the rap and the hip hop and stuff were looked at on society. And there was kind of like this kind of pushing out of the mainstream type stuff. So there was almost like a little bit of kinship there, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you definitely got a little more mix on concert venues for that type of intertwining musical genres or whatever.
Yeah,
for sure. More so than you get today, I think.
Yeah, but it's funny sometimes when I hear some of the old music, like on the radio or Sirius when we're driving. It's like they'll play a song and it's like, God, I haven't heard this song like forever. And I remember, like, I got that song here, and I'm like, how can I listen to that song? It's like, and the songs you forgot the name of, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about that one.
Yeah, I do that on the radio all the time. Listen to some old school whatever on the Sirius satellite, and it's like, yeah, I forgot all about that song.
Yeah.
Then you look at the date and you're like, oh shit, that was that long ago. No wonder I forgot about
it. And like Mister says, Korn and Ice Cube, I think did something right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, stuff like that. You would have a mix, like things like that, where they would kind of blend together.
I think Limp Bizkit was a big one too. I think it did a lot of kind of rap stuff too.
What kind of
rap, artists or whatever open for each other.
And that kind of led up to where you had a point where you had like JC and Linkin Park coming together.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Heading that way, they came together. When they came together and they did the cuts on Linkin Park's album, where they were singing the parts like the Jay-Z and Jay-Z on Jay-Z's album. They were doing the other one. It was kind of like it was an easy, natural flow for them to actually perform together. Of
course, you got to think back to Run DMC and Aerosmith. With Walk This Way. Back in
they pretty much saved Aerosmith's career because they were going on a down note at the time.
And that was probably late 80s, I guess, probably for that one.
Yeah, that was not mid 80s. That was
mid 80s,
like 85 or so, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like when that happened, it was like MTV. It was like, whoa, what? You got to bring that back. Like people were watching that like crazy on MTV. I mean,
I can remember the video. They're each on one side of the wall and they're banging the wall. Turn that shit down or whatever.
Right. I mean, I think of MTV. I can think of like the things that were kind of like changers. You think of when the first one came out with "I Want My MTV" from the video, that song, because that launched MTV. But I have like that Aerosmith Run DMC moment where they came together. How that kind of shifted things where now you had them, because then later on you had the Run DMC King of Rock, because they were like doing a King of Rock thing and they couldn't get into the Hall of Rock Museum, and they came out with that song, and that kind of set stuff up too. But I kind of miss the old MTV. That was actually pretty fun to watch.
You used to be able to see that on like MTV too, but now they don't even play like music videos anymore. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. And I remember watch MTV back in the day, like in college. You almost felt like you were guilty, like watching what was it? Was it Billy Idol? Who was his one video he had with Alicia Silverstone? With the big speaker.
Yeah.
Rock the Cradle of Love. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. I couldn't think of what the song was though.
And it was like being in college, and you're like, is she even legal? Should we even watch it?
Yeah.
And there would be some guy in the crew, but I don't even care.
Yeah, doesn't really matter. Like, well, it kind of does, but what the hell?
My college years could be summed up by one Billy Idol song. I don't know how many parties I heard Money Money playing, and
every single one, I think.
Yeah, and the lyrics that aren't part of the song that the crowd adds for sure. Yeah. Well, Charm Life might have been the album, but the Rock the Cradle of Love was the single that had Alicia Silverstone for 20. And he said, how about For Real from Tricky? Earth said Kid Rock. 420 said Big Dead Wrong. And then Cody just said the cream ale is going awesome, about 6%. He turns 23 Saturday. Hey, well, early birthday wishes there, Cody.
Yeah, cheers. Happy birthday to come.
Yeah.
23, huh?
See, Cody doesn't know about the cassette tape.
He's like, what's that? I read about that before, but
he's like, a CD. What's a CD?
yeah, I always thought those were coasters. I didn't know what those were.
The worst thing back in the day about CDs was the packaging. The packaging, they gave you the whole big box for this little half a thing for the CD. Finally, they got smart and they stopped doing it. But I remember like getting those big things, or the ones in the plastic wrap where you had to like get a knife to even try to cut into.
I was gonna say, then you had the one where it was like child proof, adult proof, anything proof, and then 9 times out of 10, by the time you get it open, then you break half of it, so it didn't even, you break the one little peg off of it that hinges off of, and it's like, now you can't. Now, what the hell? It's like whoever thought of that needs to be shot.
Yeah, exactly. And then, hey, Arizona Time was welcome, my friend. Says good evening, all. And I bet Arizona's got some heat out there as well. We were talking about how hot it was in places earlier, so Arizona's probably up around 100 too.
Seems early to be hitting that high right now.
Well,
maybe
us,
not. Maybe not
us.
though. Yeah.
if you're like Earth in Southern California or some of the guys here in Arizona or Vegas, yeah, you're gonna be hitting it. And then Mr. said happy birthday as well. And yep, Arizona's at 100 today. So and then 420 said or mini disc. Yeah, so you had the mini disc as well. That were out there for a bit too. So that is part of the innovation that we went through.
And what about I know it's kind of a change of subject for the movies, the laser discs. Do you remember those?
I remember the laser disc coming out.
They lasted off like 2 months or something, maybe. I mean, those things are like bigger than regular albums were. I was like, what the hell is that's never going to work?
Yeah. Well, they had the laser disc, and that was like a fail as much as the beta was. Beta VHS, yeah. And Earth said we hit it late this year. Usually hit 100 in March, so they actually they had a few cooler extra days than usual.
I didn't think it'd get that hot this early. Even there, I didn't think it'd get that hot already.
Yeah. Mr. says DATs as well. So there was a lot of well, even like back when we used to go back when I was doing the DJ stuff and we had to cut our own commercials. We had to use the reel to reel because we would splice in our stuff for the commercials and things like that. So yeah, digital audio tapes. Yeah. I remember and I just got him downstairs the tape deck. I got it as a dual tape deck from back in the day. You had a dual tape deck where one would stop and the other one would play. So you're having a party, you just flipping them.
They're like, oh, what the hell? Oh, you must have money. What the hell's that?
Yeah.
I remember sitting on Sunday nights listening to Casey Kasem Top 40, having my cassette player. Didn't even have a radio that had a cassette player in it. It had to put the record, hit the record button for songs. Yeah. And then stop, flip it over, get to the next one.
And then, so for those people that didn't know what DATs were, Mr. said digital audio tapes. And then Cody said, ask if I care if his cousin and I join. Well, usually, like I was just telling a couple of guys, like on the beer flow, we kind of just have a show like we do it like this. But I may do a hangout this weekend. So if you guys are around, we can definitely probably get you in there. A little bit just different type feel. 420 or DCC. Arizona says, I miss albums. Buying it, sitting down, reading the whole cover, and then listening to the album from beginning to end. Yeah. That was the cool thing with some of the albums, some of the designs, like the Beastie Boys first one. No one realized it was like a penis until they opened up the album. They thought it was a plane crash, right? Or like some of the older like R&B type albums, the Ohio Players. If you ever seen the old Ohio Players one, there's always like a sexy woman in there. You're always like opening up to see if she was fully naked or not when you were like a young teenager or whatever. You're like she's a fire hose. What? The hose is in the wrong spot. So. Yeah, so 420 said,
like, what's it doing there?
Yeah. 420 said auto reverse was the big thing. Yep, one of the players having an auto reverse. Yeah. And I mean you had the days of the boom boxes too. It's like, you had the big Radio Raheem type boom box, and there will be time you take it out and you have one box you try to get better than the other person had. Oh, you were in competition with your boys, like trying to have the bigger radio and stuff, which were pretty cool.
Who could get the bigger box on their shoulder and still carry it without dropping it?
Yeah. And you bring them to the park and you play basketball, and they be sitting there and you have music playing while you were playing basketball. Those were the days. Don't grow up too fast, young people. Don't grow up too fast.
The good old days.
And then Mr. said 8-tracks were pretty nostalgic. Yeah, 8-tracks were, I guess, when I was around 7 or 8, started fading out at that point. But I still had a few. I think I had like the that old Kool and the Gang Celebrate, that album I had on 8-track back in the day. And by a certain point, it just started skipping. It would just skip. Like you were in track 7, all of a sudden you're back on track 1, or you're on track 12. Where did that come from? Like 8 tracks. That's great. 420 said boomboxes were huge in South Africa. Boombox with detachable speakers with 5-inch wire for each side. Yeah. Yeah. You try to set it up so you get the best sound play. Arizona said he just missed the 8-tracks, born in 72. Yeah. Well, if you were born in 72, I was born in 69. So they were there. They were just starting to fade out probably as you were becoming older. When you were young, becoming older, you probably just didn't notice them because you were too young for them. But they were still out there. They're probably about, I would say, 79 or so. There you find some. They're still in the cars, had the 8-track players. So people weren't getting rid of their cars. If their cars were in good shape, but they had to go out and find 8-tracks to play them in there.
I remember as a kid growing up, we had this big, I guess, record player stereo system. It was like one of those, hell, it was about the size of a dresser almost. It was big, had a turntable and an 8-track cassette deck in it.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the, almost looked like a coffee table type, and it had the lid, you flip the lid up and had your turntable and a place to store your records. And then you had your 8-track player in it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I wish I still had that. I wouldn't know what to do with it now, Dave, but it would be kind of cool just to have.
Yeah, my grandparents, when I was a kid, they had one it looked like it was freaking just furniture. And it was like, a wood type cabinet, everything with the record. You flip up the top, and it had the record player in there. It didn't have the cassette stuff, but it was mainly the record player. But it was like an oak wood piece of furniture that you were
kind of looking at. Yeah, that's what this one was.
And how old was this one? This one had 78 on the dial, not the 45 to 33, but it had a 78. I didn't know what 78 was.
Yeah,
but apparently there was some record they played back then for the 78. So it was one of the old, probably an antique now. I mean, obviously don't have it anymore, but nowadays that'd probably been worth something.
I was going to say, if he was getting ready to say it had the old like shell looking sound thing and you had to crank it up, it was like, yeah, you're going old. You're going way old there.
Not that old. And then 420 said he was born in 76, and we had the 8-track cassette adapter thing. So yeah, so when they started to phase it out, they had the 8-track adapter, just like when they started phasing out cassettes, so you had the cassette adapter and stuff too. So
420's a millennial just like me then.
Yeah. And Arizona says, I find it funny now they sell record albums at Barnes & Noble and they cost $40, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And even if like some of the places you go to that are the used type stores, you can find them there and they will actually still be like $20, $30 depending on it. Obviously the better shape is and the more it's worth, but people are out here trying to collect them too.
It's because now they're vintage, so now you can get more dollar out of them.
Yeah. But yeah, listening to a good old record sometimes it's like reading a book, right? You can do everything online now, but sometimes just reading that book, having that turning of the paper or whatever you want to call it, kind of makes a difference sometimes.
That's why Shannon is when she reads. She's like, she'd rather have the book.
Yeah.
She's like, I just like having the feel of the book in my hand, like you said, turning the page and something about that other than just having it on your Kindle or whatever, to swipe your finger to turn the page or whatever.
Right. There's just something to it. So I prefer to read the book still some as well. Although, like a lot of things we read on the internet now because they're like articles. Like I don't read the newspaper. I would just read like on the internet news site. But for a book, I still like the old book. So it is what it is. Earth said we have that table record player at work right now. 420 says I love hi-fi. I have Macintosh tube amp, Adcom components, NAD cassette, Nakamichi cassette, etc. So he's got the whole old school setup there. And he says he loves his son. His son loves Eminem's role model on vinyl. He says it sounds even dirtier. is that causing it the needle?
Sounds even dirtier.
Oh, and Cody Stark says, get some peanuts and Cracker Jack porter. Yeah, I wonder why he said it sounds dirtier. Is it just maybe it's the feel of it? I remember back in the day with some of the records they had, there used to be a lot of comedy records too, like in Red Fox was one of the first ones they said used to have like the blue records they used to call him because he was so dirty on his records. They could only play him at certain spots and stuff. So, but people would gather around and listen to the comedy. I mean, just think about like you're not visualizing anything. You're kind of sitting with a group of people around listening and kind of in your own head letting the imagination play out. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of an interesting feel. Let's dump these bottles. But these boxes are going down very easy. Hey, what's happening, Skyhawk? Good evening, y'all. Good evening, y'all, he says. And Mr. says Guido Sarducci. That was another one from comedy from back then, who later was on Saturday Night Live.
Who was it?
Guido Sarducci, Father Sarducci.
Oh, yeah.
He said, 420 said, I don't know. He's 14, so it says retro is hell for him. He loves the lead in, the pops, the clicks, the scratches. So he likes it all. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's culture right there. But yeah, so
something none of these young bucks will understand.
Of course, we played the video games back then, and when you lost, you had to go way back to the start. There was no
exactly
20 seconds to continue either on our games.
You're like, forget it. I'm dead. I ain't starting all over.
Yeah. Arizona Timeless says, let's just face it, the music was back in the 70s and 80s. You know what? I'm not going to argue with you on that because I feel that same way a lot. Even up to like maybe probably to about the mid 90s. I mean, I grew up playing pool as a kid at a recreational place. And I remember just like when I played like Dust in the Wind was always like the jukebox. That song always reminds me of playing pool as a kid growing up. And just some of the lyrics and some of the records you had from back during those times, you know, was just more poured into it, it seems. It wasn't about trying to be a one hit type just thing. I mean, it was kind of more of a feeling. Like you could always tell like good music, in my opinion, versus other ones. Like there's certain songs you hear that kind of raise the hair on your arm, so to speak. You know, you kind of feel that music coming through. It's like if you listen to Aretha Franklin record and she hits those notes, it's just like you feel that in your body and stuff. So
yeah, some people just had it.
Yeah. And
you definitely tell those, you know, from the ones that kind of were wannabes. Now, I shouldn't say wannabes, but you know, there's definitely your higher players and then your everybody else type artists, you know.
Yeah, there's some artists that are like studio made, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I remember being like we were back in college, like in the 80s, and we're actually late 80s, early 90s. Like Albie Shore, for instance, he was more of a studio artist, so his whole voice was being done up in the studio as well, which is one of the reasons why he didn't tour as much. They said back then because it was a lot of it was the studio sound they were putting behind them. So that all plays. 420 said I have Lady Marmalade on vinyl.
Lady Marmalade, nice.
Nothing wrong with that. Love some LaBelle. And then Mr. said Coleco. Remember the gaming console? Yeah, the ColecoVision. That was another one of the gaming consoles back in the day.
Yeah, I had to go over to my cousin's house to play Coleco. We wasn't good enough to get that one.
Yeah. It was always kind of funny, like whatever system you got, somebody else had you had to coordinate around the neighborhood who got what, Well, don't get Atari because I got Atari. You get in television,
Right? Yeah, exactly.
then we could all play stuff. So yeah, fun times game. And guess what? We still played other activities besides just gaming, so we didn't all get fat like that back then. So kids can still go out and play and still have time to play video games.
Gaming was for nighttime when the sun went down and you couldn't, be outside.
Or a rainy day or something.
Or a rainy day or snowy or something,
I mean, some parents didn't let you back in the house. They just locked the door. Get out. Go somewhere. I don't care. Just get out of the house right now.
Right. Now you're looking back, you're like, okay, now I know what you were doing while I was gone.
It's like you can go sit on the step for all I care right now.
That's right. I just want to see your ass sitting around here.
And then you learn how to skip rocks to the lake because you were forced to go outside. Like stupid lady throwing rocks in the lake, and like, hey, that's kind of cool.
When that street light come on, no, your ass better be home.
Yeah, that's right. When the street light came on,
that was your signal. That was your. Didn't matter where you was at. As soon as you see the street light, gotta go.
Back in the day, the street light was like the gun of like a race. When that street light came on, everybody just took off.
Hopping on your bike and speeding home.
Your friend's like, I need help. The light is on, man.
That's right. I'll help you tomorrow. I'm sorry. Gotta go.
You're on your own. Yeah. 420 said in television. Mr. said Tower Power. 420 said my Atari 2600 had the color and black and white switch. So I remember the color and black and white switch. Yeah, based on the TV. Thank you, Arizona. Arizona says this is one of the best chat topics I've been on in the last week. Thank you. Yeah.
What about the old Commodore 64? I remember my neighbor got a Commodore 64. I was like, all right, we're going inside and playing games today. I don't care. Yeah. Nice out or not. We're playing on your Commodore 64.
One of my good friends in high school, he had the Commodore 64. So we would all go to his house and play. But it was like, what was the one that was on there? Was it Decathlon or I don't think it was like a track and field type game. It was real popular on Commodore 64 as well. So we used to play that all the time. And then some of the other games we would get into. But
was Commodore 64 the first one for Magic versus Bird?
Yeah. Well, that was Bird and Dr. J at the time.
Dr. J.
That was Bird. Yeah, they had that, and then they had like a track and field that was a pretty big game, and a few other things. But the Dr. J and
Bird.
Larry Bird. Well, yeah.
I remember the first time seeing you shatter a backboard on that game. I was like, "Oh, this is the best game! This is the best game ever!" And then the little guy would come out brooming and almost like cussing you out the whole time. He's sweeping up the glass.
Yeah, it's the little things.
It is.
Yeah, and then later on it was Bird against Michael Jordan. They had, I think, on there.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
Yeah, and then let's see, and 420 says I had Apple IIc. Apple was the first computer I learned to program on in 7th or 8th grade when we were doing a computer program, and I learned to write BASIC. It was actually using Apple. So we like make different designs and different programs to do stuff, which was really cool and everything. You thought at that point Apple was going to be the big computer, and then all of a sudden, like 2 years later or whatever, IBM takes over. Thanks to Bill Gates taking the Apple idea and selling it. So
yeah.
420 writes BASIC? Yeah. Yep, BASIC. BASIC is before you got the Fortran and COBOL. And you also have Pascal. Yeah, there was some computer writing in my past, but I didn't really go past BASIC too much. I looked at Fortran for a little bit, but I'm like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah. It's like when they put you in the AP classes and stuff. So we had like, you went through algebra, you went through geometry, and then you were in trig and calculus and all this other stuff. And you're up in physics and science, like,
yeah, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, just trying to get all this stuff. You can do all this stuff. You go to college. All right, you say so.
I guess, whatever.
But nothing causes more excitement in a chemistry room than an oops. Oops, followed by smoke in a chemistry
I was gonna
class.
say, yeah, and then smoke and the smell of something. What'd you do?
Nothing to clear a room easier, you know.
Get the same reaction in cooking class too. Back in the day, you know, when you used to actually have to have like home ec when you had to learn to sew and actually cook.
Yeah.
Like, what's the smell? Somebody burning something.
Well, do you remember back in the day? I don't know if they still make them now as much, but back in the day when we were younger, we used to have like chemistry sets you could buy that kids would get like as Christmas gifts and stuff, like with actual chemicals. So you could actually work on experiments at your house, just like you would get like the microscopes and stuff like that, telescopes and everything like that. You would have actual chemistry sets where you would have. I don't think they put them out there anymore now. I don't know, like they think people are smart enough to really deal with them now, or it's become like a danger. I mean, come on, we grew up with jarts as well. We took,
right.
we took risks. We rode bicycles without helmets the time we came up. But you used to get, and I used to love getting the chemistry set because I was big into like science. So going through and you try different formulas and have like a book with it. If you wanted to make, this type of chemical, you put these two together. So you do the whole chemistry set right in your kitchen sink.
They actually still have something like that. We got our daughter one for Christmas a few, 3-4 years ago. I don't know it was as extreme as what it was back when we were younger, but they still had some stuff where you could, mix baking soda and whatever and, get your compound or make whatever kind of shit you wanted to out of it. But I think it was kind of a chemistry set dumbed down a little bit to where you wasn't gonna get anything, blow up anything or nothing like that. But
yeah. No, I mean this was like actual like
you could build bombs and shit back then.
It was like boron and something else, and you would have like real chemicals and stuff, and it's kind of
take a 9-volt battery and something else and melt some metal together or something. Like what?
It was like a warning where you didn't put two things together because you would actually cause a fire in your house.
And your mom and dad be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. You bought it for me. What are you doing? What's your problem?"
And then we had the Tonka toys that were actually metal.
Oh yeah.
Not our plastic. We had actual metal. I mean, you could get cut up with a Tonka toy back in the day.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, we had some more stuff. We were more, I don't know, I'd say we were more risk takers. They were just making more stuff that was more dangerous when we were kids. But
that's more where they just be like, they just give it to you and be like, well, he's going to learn one way or the other. He cuts himself. He ain't going to do it no more.
Yeah.
That's going to be it.
Yeah, we were a generation. It's like if a kid goes near a hot stove, parents will be like, let it happen. He'll learn.
That's right. It only takes one time. Be a life lesson forever.
Foamy Head said he didn't have many street lights in his area growing up in the 70s, but he got back in the yard when he heard coyotes. That's a good move right there, Foamy. That was good on your part. 427, when I was very young, my dad would reel me in when the cheetahs started pacing the fences.
Oh, shit.
You guys have a lot of wildlife stuff going on out there.
Cheetahs.
Yeah, if I see a cheetah pacing, yeah. And then 420 said I used to build and still build Tesla coils. Too much fun. Yeah, what was the one that we had? The erector sets we had back in the day too. Yeah, where you would build like metal type things. Also, I don't know if they still make those or not, but erector sets were pretty popular. I mean, we had Legos too, but the erector sets were like the real deal. Like working with metal.
I forgot all about those.
Yeah, and they don't really make like the Tyco tracks anymore. I don't think the race car tracks.
I don't think so.
And the Lionel train sets we used to have back in the day. I
remember I used to have like I think it was actually my brother's. He's a little bit older than I was. He had like an Evil Knievel
wind it up
on a motorcycle. Yeah, and you like reel this thing and it would take off shooting. And it was like a little plastic track. It would run down and you could ramp it and stuff. I was like, I think that was badass.
That was one of my first memories of a Christmas gift I actually wanted with that damn Evil Knievel. You wound that baby up and it took off. Yeah,
he was. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I used to love that thing. I took that thing everywhere back in the day. I was like,
make him jump all over the house. Yeah.
Oh, to the point it would get on my mom's nerves.
Boy.
Well, we'd be at the top of the steps or place we lived. I just make them jump all the way down the bottom, run down the bottom, get them back up. Like you get up, banging against the wall.
Oh. Not sure what happened. I don't know if anybody's still out there listening, but Rajay has gone away. Looked like his he just messaged said he lost power. It looked like his light went out as he was going off air, so we'll see if he'll be back. I don't know. If not, I guess you're stuck with me, and it could be a boring next 20 minutes. Who knows? And I have no computer, so I can't see what anybody's saying. So I'm going to take this time and go grab me a beer. So if anybody's still out there, I guess just hang tight and see if Rajay comes back. I will be back. So it looks like Rod is still out of power, if you can hear me, or if we're still on. Maybe not. I don't know. Say if he lost power, you probably aren't seeing me either. So